This first speaker may be the most unique speaker that we've had, and we've had almost 100 speakers come through in the last 2 years. This one may be one of the most unique ones. You see, Rashaad Campbell is not here with us in person today. You see, he's currently incarcerated. He's serving a 15-year sentence for killing another man in a fight during a concert in Greenville. He was brought to my attention through a recommendation to read a book that he recently self-published on Amazon called Thoughts of an Incarcerated Mind. Now, it was only a $3 purchase to load it to my Kindle, so he's not getting rich off this book. But I did download it, and I did read it. And this book gave me pause like very few books have done. Rashaad is not a polished author. You won't find evidence of a formal education in his writings, but in a very raw, very real way, I discovered a human being full of depth, introspection, deep regret, and a strong desire to prevent youth from following the path that he did. I interviewed him over Zoom last week, and I want to be clear about one thing. This is not about normalizing criminal behavior or excusing a horrific crime because of circumstances of his upbringing. It's not about that at all. And I've already received criticism along those lines online over this. But Rashaad would be the first to tell you he has taken responsibility for his actions, and the last thing he wants to do is glorify prison life. If you are religious, you have to believe in a forgiving God for those who seek to be forgiven. If you believe in restorative justice, you have to believe that at least some of them can be rehabilitated and work to make amends for very bad decisions in their past. I could not have found a person more different from me than Rashaad. Yet through his book, I came to understand him as a human being, one who is not defined solely by a past he cannot change. The interview was conducted over Zoom, as I said. The facility that he's in allows use of tablets for those prisoners on good behavior, but their Wi-Fi sucks. It really did. So he couldn't do video, and the audio cut in and out frequently, almost as if he was dialing in from the moon. But the 12 minutes that you are about to see was representative of the hour that I did get to spend and speak with him, and I hope you all find something meaningful from it.
So you and I know, we know somebody in common. You even referenced him in the dedication in your book, and you call him Buddy Boy. How do you know him?
Yeah, I know him just from, doing a lot of things. We used to do music together, but, now we both have, evolved and aged, and now I know him through, doing a lot of community work together and things like that.
Yeah, I ran into Ahmad 2 years ago. He was doing a voter registration event at a football field, where the young kids and then their parents are coming by, and he set up a tent and asked me to join up with him to get some voter information out. This was during 2020. And then next thing I know, he's getting into politics. He's working with me on the Democratic Party here in Greenwood. He's been a real good dude to work with. I think I'm better for having known him. Is he somebody you've known all your life, or just recently?
No, I think I've known him for like around 10 years. 10 years.
Rashaad Campbell has written a book. Now, you've written a couple books, right? Or is it just one?
Well, I've written 3 so far. I'm in book 3 now.
Book 3. All right. So last night, Ahmad had passed on to us a recommendation that we need to read your book, Thoughts of an Incarcerated Mind. And I burned through that last night, man. I mean, I tell you, it's rare that I get to read a book in one sitting. But yours, man, I started from page 1 and I didn't put it down until the last page. And you know what? I still don't even know how to get my thoughts together on it. You know?
If you don't mind me asking, what was your favorite part?
Listen, I don't know if it's a favorite part because what you wrote was probably the most raw and real thing I have ever read. And especially when you delved into talking about your mother, dude, I had to put it down for a while and just compose myself, you know, because if you and I may not have much in common except we both got mamas we love, you know, and every word you said, like it hit me hard. And man, to be an inspiration as well. Here's how I took it. No prison is going to do to you what losing your mother has done. You know, you wrote that. Your fear of disappointing your mama. How's that shaped you and kind of affect your day to day?
Like my first time in prison, I was 16 years old. And, you know, when I was growing up, me and my mom, we didn't have a real good relationship because, you know, it was a lot of things dealing with her being a single parent and, you know, stress and anxiety and the trauma she was going through. Like we wasn't able to be friends and to really like and know each other because she was so busy trying to make sure we was getting raised right, you know. So when I went to prison at 16, that really, you know, it hurted her. And, you know, it hurt her so bad, like she ended up having like 6 strokes. You know, I did 10 years in prison. And around year 7, she had like 6 strokes in 1 year. And
yeah, you wrote that you hadn't heard from her in a couple of years. You know, like she stopped calling, she stopped coming. You didn't know what was what, and then you didn't know until your brother showed up what had happened to your mama.
And you know, I just felt like it was my fault that these things had happened to her. And, you know, still today, I still have that feeling today. Like everything I do, you know, I do it because I just want to please her. So, you know, that's my drive every day, you know, to make her happy, you know. That's what I do it for.
You know, I thought one of the most powerful things about your book is that you're not just telling a story from beginning to end. You jump around a lot. You know, you switch from topic to topic, and it took me a little while, probably more than halfway through, before I really started to piece together your story. Because you talk about your first time in prison, then you talk about your current time and how you ended up back. But it's all jumbled together, and I actually really liked it. I saw that as like a stroke of genius in the way you do storytelling. Now, your relationship with God is also real important to you. Is that right?
Yes. I kind of feel like, you know, no matter who you identify with as God, I feel like every person, every human being needs a God. So, you know, like, you know, I'm fearful of the knowing and the unknown. And, you know, my fear is not like to be frightened or afraid, but I fear that I'll disappoint God. Early on in life, I was a Baptist. I started going to church by myself when I was like 9 years old. We had a church van that used to come through every Sunday morning and pick all the kids up in the project. And they'll take us to church. We'll ride the bus, go to church. And, you know, they feed us breakfast. We do Bible Sunday school, then we go from Sunday school to the Sunday service. And we'll be in there from six, like they'll pick us up around 7 o'clock in the morning, and we wouldn't get back home until after 2 sometime. I went to church all my from 9 years old all the way up to 15. And soon as I shied away from it, I ended up, landing in prison at 16.
Now, if I read correctly, were you born in '96 before you moved to Georgia?
Yes, sir. I was born in Greenwood, South Carolina, and my family, was from 96.
And you wrote that you wrote your book in the hopes that it'll help some young kids avoid the story that you had to live through. Do you think you've been successful in saving at least one?
I actually know of 2 kids, right, that I was like, I don't want to, like, and I know a lot of people, they say like, oh, I don't want no glory, or I don't, but that's not the reason that I do the things that I do. Like, it's really in my heart to help create a change, to be a part of something special, something different. So, for me to inspire kids, whether it be 1, 2, or 100 or 100,000, like that's the whole goal. The more kids actually read this book, and that's the difference between, you have like a lot of prison stories nowadays is glorification, and it makes kids believe that, hey, I can go to prison. Like I can survive it. It's kind of like the army or like the military. Like I can make it through basic training. We want them to see that, hey, this sucks. Like this gonna really mess your life up in the long run.
Yeah,
Talks about what really matters.
You really have a way in your words to bring it home. I want to quote one thing you wrote. You said, imagine being 16 years old, locked in a warehouse with 200 grown men, 100 murderers, 100 gang members, 100 men that probably never see freedom again, 100 men that don't care about living or dying, and 100 men too dumb to know the difference. Imagine what kind of person you would have to be or become to survive. And man, that really hits it home right there. A kid sees that, he's got to think twice going forward.
Some do, and unfortunately some don't, because some can't grasp it. Like everybody I hung around, all the older guys that I hung around, they never told me about the inside of prison. I was so dumb, and when I came to prison for the first time, I was afraid, but I was like excited. So you're doing anywhere from 10 to 30 years in prison. And guys don't understand, when you get to 5 years and 6 years, 7 years, you're different. Not for the best. You're different. You're different for the worst, so and it really does something to you.
Yeah, outside of the book, how else are you able to work with kids and get that message to them?
Okay, well, I actually started a nonprofit organization by the name of Paving the Way, and so like what I do right there, I get the guys together, and I do these group calls. I get them all there, and I try to talk to them as much as I can.
Well, I appreciate your faith and trust in that. I also thank you for writing that book. I'm going to be putting that among the top 10 books that I'm going to remember until my last day. I thought it was that good. You definitely got a gift in that department. And you say you're working on a 3rd book now, you said?
Well, no, I'm working on book 4 now.
Okay.
I actually finished the 3rd book. So, yeah, I'm working on book 4 now. I appreciate you and your time. like hopefully, this video can help or just however it can, I hope it do some good for the community or whatever, positive.
Yeah, you never
it can
know.
do.
You never know. God's will. All right, sir. Well, thank you very much. You take care. We'll talk again sometime, all right?
All right. Have a great day. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye.
All right, what'd you think? Something different, and I have to tell you, I remember telling my wife just before I was scheduled to interview them, I was sort of doubting myself, thinking, what am I doing? This is, but you have to reach out to all sorts of people. If you're a believer, you know the story that, Jesus didn't spend time with all the goody two-shoes. He went to the people in need, and you have to reach out and speak with them. And as Democrats, we are responsible, along with the legislators, for policies as to how prison works and who's staffing it. And, it's never black and white where it's all good or all bad. Some people could just not be rehabilitated, but others can. And then there are even those who are trying to do good with the circumstances they're in. So I thank Rashaad for his time. And if you have any questions about his book, you can reach out to me. Maybe we can find you a copy.